Hello, everyone. This is David, Fairly Secret Music. Today, I decided I was going to do kind of a response video to Vinylizer John's live video that he was doing. In that video, he started talking about Deep Purple, Come Taste the Band, quite a bit. We went back and forth, kind of talking about who was in it and how good it was. If you don't know, at this point in Deep Purple history, Richie Blackmore is out and Tommy Bolin is in as a guitarist. So you have John Lord on keyboards, Ian Pace on drums, Glenn Hughes on bass and vocals, David Coverdale on vocals, and Tommy Bolin on guitar. This album is fantastic. I listened to it tonight again. I've listened to it several times, but every time I listen to it, it gets better and better. Tonight I listened to the remix that Kevin Shirley did, and they have Drifter as the last track instead of the fourth track, and oh my god, that song is awesome. This is a little bit more funky and different than most Deep Purple things that you possibly know. Um, Also, it has an instrumental on here called Ode to G that used to be connected with This Time Around, but on the remix, they actually separate them into two separate tracks. And Ode to G is awesome also. I think it would have been interesting to see where they would have gone after this had they not broken up, but they did. So I also wanted to point out the other two albums with Richie Blackmore still on them was Deep Purple Burn and Stormbringer. Both fantastic albums, but today we're not focusing on Blackmore. We are focusing on Tommy Bolin and Glenn Hughes because John didn't know certain things that either of them had done. So, I will start out with Tommy Bolin. He knew about James Gang. Tommy Bolin was in James Gang for one album, and this was right before he joined Deep Purple. This album is pretty good, but I like other James Gang albums a little better. The ones with more of the hits, more of the songs that everybody knows by James Gang. I can understand why he was only in the band for one album, because it just really wasn't the same. This is part of one of those weird box sets. He played guitar on Billy Cobham's Spectrum, and this is an awesome fusion album. Lee Sklar says at one point he can pick out the spot where Tommy Bolin broke a guitar string but just kept on playing, and that is the take on this album. I can't remember what song it is, but he said that back in those days they didn't have time to do tons and tons of multiple takes, so he just kept that take, and apparently it was good enough for the album. Alphonse Mouzon. This has him, Tommy Bolin, Lee Ritenour, Jerry Peters, and Henry Davis. If you do not know who he is, I believe he played with Weather Report. I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember. He either played with Weather Report or some funk band. I'm not sure. Anyway, this album is kind of like rock and funk and fusion all together, and Tommy Bolin plays on it, and it's fantastic. I haven't listened to it in quite a while, but it's all instrumental stuff. If you like things like Mahavishnu Orchestra or Weather Report, Graham Central Station, stuff like that, you may dig this. Give it a shot. It's called Mind Transplant, but that has Tommy Bolin right in the green right next to him. This was the one that John had. Let me find the booklet. So this is the deluxe version. It's got 3 discs, lots of photos, no lyrics, but it's teaser. It's a 3-disc version. It has the album remastered, and then disc 2 has alternates and outtakes, and disc 3 is also alternates and outtakes. The title track of this is probably the best song on there. Well, I don't know this album quite as much as I know its follow-up, which is Private Eyes. Now, this album has the song Post Toasty. It has Bustin' Out for Rosie, Sweet Burgundy, and the best song on here, Shake the Devil, which has like a riff that goes da-dun dun da-da-da-dun da-dun dun da-dun da-dun bow ba-da-da-dun da-dun dun. It's awesome. It's the best solo Tommy Bolin song, and this album I am gonna send to John because you definitely need this album. It's fantastic. I love the look at who's with 2 ladies there. That's awesome. All right, so that is all the Tommy Bolin stuff I have, but I also mentioned that some other things about Glenn Hughes, and mentioned that he played with Gary Moore and stuff, so I thought, okay, I will show all the Glenn Hughes stuff I have. This single disc, yep. He did this in '94. It's called Burning Japan Live, and it's also included in this box set, but this is probably the best sounding one in this box set. A lot of these are bootlegs and stuff. Definitely pick this up if you like Glenn Hughes or are a Deep Purple fan. He plays Burn, Stormbringer, Lady Double Dealer, Ode to G. Let's see what else. I think that's it from the Deep Purple discography. But there's so many other. I mean, this is 7 discs. 7 discs. And I showed these before, but these are all the discs. It comes with a booklet with lots of liner notes, which I actually have yet to read. My friend Mark found this. He got it for $6, and then he decided that he didn't need it necessarily, so he gave it to me. I told him I'd give him money, but he was like, nope. There is also a few Hughes and Thrall things on here, like Muscle and Blood and I Got Your Number. But so that one comes with this. just to show everything that's in it. And he plays with several different lineups. The most notable players, I guess, let's see. Yeah, it's actually a lot of people that I've never really heard of before. So it looks very familiar from album to album. He plays with the kind of like the same few guys. So those are the two live things that I have from Glenn Hughes. This is a bunch of stuff that I got just recently. I found a lot of Glenn Hughes stuff used the way it was. This one came out in 1999. If you don't know about Glenn Hughes, this guy did more drugs than a lot of people, and he should not be able to sing even close to the way he sings. And his voice is still amazing. Just awesome. Who plays on here? This one has Gary Ferguson, Matt Sorum, Stevie Salas. Let's see, anybody else? Granted, all the other people. I'm just looking for people that other people might know. Anybody remember Stevie Salas's color code? So the way it was. Return of the Crystal Karma. This is actually a Japanese version. It's a 2-disc set that I have. Why won't this go back in? This came out in 2000. And if you noticed, Return of Crystal Karma spells rock. That's so cheesy, but this one, I believe, this is Building the Machine. Yeah, this is basically him and basically a trio of him, Gary Ferguson on drums, and J.J. Marshall. This kind of goes back, well, all of these kind of go back more to a rock stuff. He did some more R&B stuff before this, but I haven't been able to get my hands on that stuff. Songs in the Key of Rock. Now this, I think, is where he kind of switches up who he's playing with. Let me see. This has, I want to say Dave Navarro plays on some of these. Let me find out. Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers plays on this. J.J. Marsh, Gary Ferguson, Ed Roth. And yeah, it must be one of the later ones that Dave Navarro plays on. Perhaps it is Soul Mover. This is one of the more funky albums that he did. The drummer on here, yep, this is Glenn Hughes, bass and vocals. And then Chad Smith on drums, J.J. Marsh on guitar, and lead guitar on two songs is Dave Navarro, which was pretty obvious that Dave Navarro would play on there because he was with the Red Hot Chili Peppers for a while. This is kind of like rock and funky kind of stuff. What you would expect from Chad Smith's drumming, kind of. So those are all the solo albums that I have. In the 80s, he did this album with Pat Thrall called Hughes and Thrall. I love the cheesiness of this album cover. And the highlight tracks on this are, well, my favorite track on this is Muscle and Blood. Or at least it used to be. The last time I listened to this, I thought a couple of the other songs were a little better, but I'm bad with song titles, so. This was the one that I mentioned to John that Glenn Hughes sang on, and he didn't know that. So Glenn Hughes actually sings, here, I'll just put that up. Glenn Hughes sings on the song Run for Cover and Reach for the Sky. Oh, that's odd. I didn't know he shared co-lead vocals with Phil from Thin Lizzy on the song Military Man. I swore that was Gary Moore. Out of My System, which is on this version a bonus track. Let's see. Nothing to Lose, All Messed Up, and that's it. So he sings 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 songs. He actually doesn't sing on Reach for the Sky. He just plays bass on it. And if you are familiar with Gary Moore but have not listened to this album, do yourself a favor. It is fantastic. It is probably the best Gary Moore album out there. Glenn Hughes was also in a band called Black Country. They actually wanted to just call the band Black Country, but they had to call it Black Country Communion for some kind of legal purposes, which is kind of weird. The best song on this is, well, actually the first 3 songs, Black Country, One Last Soul, and Great Divide. Fantastic. They had some problems deciding or agreeing on touring. I know Glenn Hughes wanted to tour, and Joe Bonamassa couldn't commit, and whatever. So after 3 albums, Black Country Communion 2 and Afterglow, I think they put out a live album also that I do not have. And then they broke up for a while. Oh, by the way, it has Joe on guitar, Glenn on vocals and bass. I think Joe sings some stuff too. Derek Sherinian on keyboards, and Jason Bonham on drums. And honestly, I think Jason Bonham is fantastic. Yes, he plays like his dad, but he also does things that are outside of his, obvious influence of his dad. Some of his fills are very reminiscent of some of the more flashy players, and stuff that John Bonham would not do. But after they broke up, Jason and Glenn did this band called California Breed. They got this hot young guitarist named Andrew something. What's his name? Andrew Watt on guitar. I love the hey, I'm bald, I'm gonna hide it kind of thing. This is his high school photo. And then the best. What is up with Glenn's hair? What is up with that? That's so crazy. But this was really good on the Black Country Communion stuff and on the California Breed stuff. He is like singing his ass off, and his range is as good, or if probably better than he was in the 70s. So yeah, that's all my Glenn Hughes and Tommy Bolin stuff. Hopefully I had something there that you're like, hey, I didn't know about that, and check it out. I gotta talk about this. So I had this guy who said that me doing my videos in front of my CDs was arrogant, and that I was a plastic collector, and that he'd play guitar and had 900 CDs, and he only bought CDs that he loved and listened to over and over again and stuff. And I'm like, okay, what kind of music do you listen to? Didn't answer. What kind of music do you play? Do you have anything I can listen to? Didn't answer. Just was trolling like crazy, and all I can think of is he's probably just jealous because all of us who are making these videos and talking about the music, especially the group of people that I associate with the most, have forgotten more music than he has ever known. Yes, I am arrogant. I'm going to keep on taking videos in front of my CDs. Thank you very much.